Hi everybody, it's Nancy, and I was asked to make some birthday invitations. So I made a couple, and I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is to make your own birthday invitations, or just a fall themed card. So these are the cards, and it's going to be for our babysitter's daughter, who is turning 1, and she's a fall baby. Her birthday is going to be the end of October. So I made these cute little pumpkins. I didn't have a pumpkin die really, so we made our own. And this is the card we're going to make today. And it's really simple to do, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start with this paper pack, and I believe I got it at AC Moore. And there are a whole bunch of different fall patterns in here. It is single-sided. Some cute ones here. So what we're going to do is take an oval die. And I've already cut 2 out. We're going to cut the 3rd one out here. So I have my big kick here. And you want your multi-platform closed all the way. You're going to put your paper in, put your die in. It really doesn't matter what direction, because this paper is, the pattern is scattered all over. Sorry, you got to put your cutting plate down first. Don't cut on the platform. Cutting plate first, then the paper, then our die, and then the cover plate, which is this is our die sandwich. So we're going to cut that. Alright, so that's going to cut that. And you can see I already cut 2 out, so we'll get back to that in a minute. And the base layer of these cards has some texture to it. So you can see the texture there on that one and the texture on this one. So that's from embossing folders. So I have a piece of brown brown cardstock, and we're going to open our platform up to the base bottom tab. Again, put in our bottom plate and grab an embossing folder. And this one is by the Paper Studio. And the other one that I had is an older one. This is a Darice one. I also have a newer one from Stampin' Up, which I just don't have out at the moment. And this brown paper is cut to 5 1/4 by 4. And we're just going to line that up in our folder here. Kind of make sure that the corners are all covered. Close that up, and then put the top of our sandwich on there. And roll that through. Okay, so we're done with our big kick, big shot machine. We can move that out of the way. And I have some card bases made up. Let's take one of these. We'll take a tape runner or some glue, whatever you have. Now you can decide if you want your design raised up or if you want it debossed with the design down. For this one, I like the design up, but it doesn't matter. There's no wrong way. You can do it whatever you decide. And this is a standard A2 card, so the front of the card is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. This back piece is 5 1/4 by 4, and then we're going to put our little pumpkins on there. So I cut the 3 ovals out, and as you can see, these 2 are a little different than this one. So all I did was I took some Vintage Photo Distress ink, and you can use regular Distress ink, or you can use the Distress Oxides with your distressing sponge tool. Get a little ink on there and just kind of go around the edges to darken that up a little bit. Gives it a little bit of a vintage look, so it's not so stark white. So then we are going to glue these 3 together. Just kind of form it into a pumpkin. I like to kind of angle the left and the right in a little bit at the top. and leave it wider at the bottom. So it's like a wide bottom pumpkin. Oh, not enough adhesive on that side. Okay, so now it has that pumpkin shape. I have a little piece of green rickrack here. I'm just going to cut a little piece of that off for the stem. And we're going to glue that on in a second. Now, I want to cut a little 1 out here because she's turning 1. So I have these large numbers framelits dies. And these are from Stampin' Up. There's a coordinating stamp set. If you want the stamp set is number of years. So contact your Stampin' Up rep if you're interested in those. And I want these all glued together because if I had cut this out and then glued it together, you would have seen the paper come through. So now we're going to take this over to our machine again. And because we are cutting a die, we are going to go back to the closed platform. Cutting plate, our image, our number, and then the top part of your sandwich. And I like to run this through a couple of times because you're cutting through more than one sheet of paper. That cracking is normal. That's the die cutting into the plastic at the bottom of the sandwich. Alright, so a couple times there. And if it doesn't cut all the way through, sometimes you get multiple layers of numbers. You can just pull the top layers off and go through and cut it again. But mine came out okay. And keep those numbers because we'll use them again. Now, my paper's coming up here, so there's a couple things I can do. You can glue it down, or you can cut it because it's not going to matter. It's on the back of the card. Alright, then we're going to put our rickrack down. Now you can stick it down like that, but I didn't like how that looked. So I took another piece of paper. I had some scraps of the wood paper that I liked. And here's an extra number that I cut out. So I can just put that in there and have like an inlaid die look. So when I go to stick it down, and you can put some adhesive or some glue behind your little stem there if you wanted to. And then all I did was I finished it up with some sequins and just stamped out "Look Who's Turning," or you can stamp out "You're Invited." And if you wanted to, we can tie a little twine on there. And I believe, yeah, this is Recollections jute. And again, just to give it that little bit of rustic look, give it some texture. And what's nice when you make these kind of rustic cards, again, it's handmade, but also it doesn't have to be perfect. If it was going to be perfect, we would have spent $20 at Hallmark, and it wouldn't have looked as caring. Not the saying that Hallmark cards are not caring. A card is better than nothing, but homemade cards are just different. When she gets old and she looks in her little scrapbook, she'll say, "Hey Mom, who did these cards?" And I'll be old and she'll say, "Oh, Nancy made them." She doesn't make cards anymore because she has arthritis. Alright, and then I take a little glue dot just to secure the bow. Put that behind there. These are super, super sticky. And there we go. And then, like I said, if you wanted to add a couple sequins, you could do that. But it's a simple way to make an autumn card. You don't have to go out and stamp everything. There's a lot of supplies you probably already have on hand that you can use to make something like this. So an embossing folder, some kind of a theme, and then embellish it with just some sequins or some ribbon or both. And there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, post them down below and I will be happy to answer them for you. And keep in mind, we are on Instagram and Facebook now at Nancy Stamps 15. Thanks for watching, guys, and happy fall.